I never thought borrowing money could make me feel like a prisoner. But there I was, standing in front of Uncle Chijioke's shop, my stomach tight. I had promised to pay him back weeks ago, and now I had nothing. I was afraid of what he might say, or worse, what he might do. Let me start from the beginning. Uncle Chijioke wasn't just any shop owner. He was a man that everyone respected in our village. His shop was always busy, full of customers looking for anything from rice and oil to soap and sugar. But what set him apart was that he trusted people. If you needed something and didn't have the money to pay for it, he would let you take it and pay later. For many in the village, Uncle Chijioke was like a safety net. You could rely on him in times of need, and he'd always help you out. I had known Uncle Chijioke since I was a child. He had seen me grow up and had always treated me with kindness. So, when my cousin Ebuka and I came up with an idea to start a small business selling soft drinks at the market, it felt natural to ask Uncle Chijioke for help. But what I didn't know then was that asking for help, especially when you don't have a plan to pay back, comes with its own set of challenges. It all started on a warm afternoon. Ebuka and I were sitting under a tree near our house, talking about how we could make some money. What if we started selling drinks? Ebuka said, tapping his fingers on the ground as if the idea had just come to him. I looked at him, curious. What do you mean? I mean, we could buy in bulk, sell the drinks in the market, and make a profit. It's a simple plan, he said. I liked the idea. It didn't sound too hard. We had seen other people doing it, and it seemed easy. We could buy the drinks from the wholesaler, sell them to customers at the market, and keep the difference. But there was one problem: we didn't have any money to buy the drinks in the first place. That's when Ebuka had the idea to go to Uncle Chijioke. He'll help us, Ebuka said confidently. If we explain it to him, he'll give us the drinks on credit. He's always helped people before. I wasn't sure. I didn't like borrowing money. It always made me feel uncomfortable. But Ebuka insisted, and in the end, I agreed. We walked to Uncle Chijioke's shop. The familiar smell of spices and fresh produce filled the air as we approached. Uncle Chijioke was sitting outside, his hands resting on his knees, looking out over the busy street. When he saw us, he smiled. "Oh, my young ones. What brings you here today?" he asked, his voice warm and inviting. We explained our idea, how we wanted to sell soft drinks in the market, how we needed his help, and how we planned to pay him back in a month. He listened carefully, nodding as we spoke. "I like that you want to start something on your own," Uncle Chijioke said. "It's good to have ambition. I'll give you the drinks on credit, but remember this: business is about responsibility. You must pay me back when the month is up." We were overjoyed. "Thank you, Uncle," we said in unison. He smiled and went to the back of his shop, coming out with a large bag of soft drinks. "Take them now, and remember to pay me back as soon as you can." We took the drinks and started our little business, excited for the future. At first, everything went according to plan. We set up a small stand in the market, bought ice to keep the drinks cold, and started selling. People came by to buy drinks, especially since it was so hot, and we made a good profit. The money we made wasn't much, but it was enough to cover our initial cost and even make a little extra. But as the days went by, things started to change. At first, we made sure to put aside some money to pay Uncle Chijioke back, but soon, we got careless. We spent some of the money on other things: snacks, new clothes, small treats. We were excited, and we felt like we had made it. It didn't seem like a big deal at the time, but it was. Then came the rain. The weather changed, and it started to rain every afternoon. The market was empty during the downpours, and we didn't make many sales. People didn't want to buy drinks in the rain. And then, just when the weather got better, the village had a big festival, and many people traveled to the city for the celebration. The market became quieter than ever. We had no customers. The few we had were buying snacks and food instead of drinks. Days passed, and we found ourselves in a bad situation. The month was almost over, and we had no way to pay Uncle Chijioke. We tried to sell more, but it wasn't enough. The money we had made from selling drinks was gone. I felt a pit in my stomach every time I thought about it. We had failed. I couldn't believe it. I looked at Ebuka, who seemed just as worried as I was. "What do we do now?" I asked, feeling hopeless. "How are we going to pay Uncle?" Ebuka didn't have an answer. He had always been the more optimistic one, but even he was struggling to find a way out. The day before we were supposed to pay Uncle Chijioke, I found myself standing in front of his shop. I had to face him. The thought of not keeping my word made me sick to my stomach. I didn't know what he would do or say, but I knew it wouldn't be good. I took a deep breath, trying to calm my nerves. My palms were sweaty as I walked up to Uncle Chijioke's shop, dreading the conversation that was about to happen. He was sitting outside, just like before, but this time, I couldn't bring myself to smile or greet him with the same cheer I always did. Uncle Chijioke looked up when he saw me. His expression didn't change, but I could tell he was waiting for me to speak. I stood there for a moment, feeling all the weight of my failure, before finally saying the words I didn't want to say. "Uncle, I don't have the money to pay you back yet." The silence between us felt heavy. He didn't respond right away, and I could feel my heart beating faster with every passing second. Would he be angry? Would he never trust me again? I didn't know what would happen next, but I was about to find out. Uncle Chijioke didn't say anything for a long time. He just sat there, his eyes studying me, like he was trying to figure out what kind of person I had become. I couldn't meet his gaze. I was afraid. Finally, he spoke. His voice was calm, but there was something serious in it. "Kin, I can see you're worried, but listen to me," he said slowly, making sure I heard every word. "Life is not about making money fast. It's about building trust, doing what you say you do, and showing that you're responsible." I felt a weight lift off my shoulders when he spoke, but it wasn't because I was out of trouble, it was because I knew Uncle Chijioke wasn't giving up on me, even though I had failed him. "I'm sorry, Uncle. I never meant to disappoint you," I said quietly, the shame hitting me like a heavy stone in my chest. Uncle Chijioke nodded, as if he understood. "It's okay to make mistakes. What matters is what you do next. Don't run away from your problems. Don't ignore them. You must take responsibility." I nodded, trying to hold back my tears. I had always admired Uncle Chijioke. He was wise, and he had a way of making difficult situations feel like they were part of a bigger lesson. I could tell he wasn't angry, but disappointed, and that hurt more than anything else. He stood up and walked over to the shelves inside his shop. I thought he was going to bring out something to help with the payment, maybe a way for us to make more money or find a solution. But instead, he took down a small wooden box and placed it in front of me. "Let me tell you something," he said. "I'm not here to make life harder for you. I want you to learn. I want you to grow. This box, Kin, is full of people's promises. When they ask me for credit, I write down the promise. I don't just give them the goods without them saying when they'll return the money. I keep track of it. Over the years, I have seen many people take what they needed and forget to pay back. But those who return what they borrow, even if it's slowly, always come back stronger." He opened the box slowly, showing me the small pieces of paper inside. Each one had a name on it, and next to the name was a date. A promise. Uncle Chijioke told me that these were not just debts, they were people's words. "These words matter," he said, looking me straight in the eye. "If you can't keep your word, you won't get anywhere in life." I could feel the weight of his words. They weren't just about money or selling drinks. They were about me becoming a person who could be trusted, someone who kept promises, even when it was difficult. "I let you pay me back slowly, but you must never forget this," Uncle Chijioke continued. "Your reputation is everything. It's more valuable than anything you can sell. If you build a reputation for being responsible, people will trust you. And trust, my boy, is something that will take you further than money ever will. I took a deep breath, trying to understand. I will pay you back, uncle. I won't forget. Uncle Chijioke smiled, a warm smile that made the tension in my chest finally start to ease. I know you will. But remember, it's not just about paying back the money. It's about building something. You don't just borrow and forget. You must show that you can handle the responsibility, even when it's hard. I nodded again, determined to prove to him that I was serious. He patted me on the shoulder. Don't worry, Kin. You learn. Just take it one step at a time. As I left Uncle Chijioke's shop, I felt like I had been given a second chance, but more importantly, I felt like I had learned something valuable. I had learned that borrowing wasn't just about asking for money or goods, it was about the trust between people. When you borrow, you're not just taking something. You're building a relationship, and if you don't pay back, that relationship breaks. That day, I realized that the business I wanted to start wasn't just about selling drinks. It was about building trust with my customers, and most importantly, building trust with myself. I needed to be someone who followed through on promises, not just to others, but to myself. Over the next few weeks, I made sure to save every penny I could, and slowly, I paid back Uncle Chijioke. It wasn't easy, but it felt good to keep my word. As the weeks went on, I started to understand what Uncle Chijioke had been teaching me. The more I paid him back, the more I felt like I was building something important, something that would last longer than a month or a business. And that's when it clicked. The true value of building credit wasn't just about borrowing money, it was about showing that I could be trusted to handle money, to keep my word, and to take responsibility. That's how you build something real, something that can take you far in life. So, remember this, when you borrow money or ask for credit, you're not just asking for help. You're building trust. And that trust, if you keep it strong, will help you build something even bigger in the future.